Hello, welcome to Visionarix, our podcast where you can have real and simple conversations with us about various tools and technologies. I'm Falco and
I'm Terraform. In this podcast, we dive into exciting discussions about simple and deep technical topics in the world of DevOps and cloud. You can find the full transcript of this episode on our website, visionarix.tech, to follow along with us. Stay tuned and enjoy the adventures in the world of technology. Oh, who is that in the cluster? Is that Falco?
Hello, Terraform. I see you are setting up new infrastructure. I thought I'd drop by to see what's happening.
Glad you came. The developers put new code into Git, and I updated the infrastructure. The CI/CD also did tests and builds.
Great, I have deployed as a daemon set in Kubernetes, and I am ready to watch for suspicious activities.
You know, Falco, it is very good that we can talk directly now. Usually other tools like Ansible or CI/CD are between us, and we do not get the chance to talk like this.
Yes, we always talk through other tools. This direct talk is really new, and I am happy we can work together without others.
I hope this direct link can make our work better. Maybe we can find new ways to put security into the infrastructure.
I agree. Security should be from the start, and with closer teamwork, we can make safer places for applications.
Do you know, Falco, I have always wanted to know why you were made. Why did they decide to create a tool like you?
While Terraform, my story comes from the need for security in modern systems. With the fast growth of containerization and orchestration with Kubernetes, security worries also grew. We needed a tool that could watch system activities at the kernel level and find threats in real time.
I understand. So you were made to fill the gap in security watching in changing container environments.
Exactly. Using eBPF lets me watch the system deeply without adding much overhead. My idea is that security should be a continuous and dynamic process, not a one-time action.
Interesting. I was also made to manage infrastructure as code. Before me, managing infrastructure was scattered and could not be versioned. My goal was to make infrastructure easy to manage, versioned and repeatable like programming code.
Really interesting, Terraform. You know, as a runtime security tool, I always try to watch systems at the kernel level. I think of it like a night watchman.
Oh, so you watch everything closely.
Exactly. With eBPF, I can watch system activities without slowing it down. Do you know what eBPF is? It's like the sharp ears of a hawk in the Linux kernel.
Interesting. But how do you talk to eBPF? It works with its own special assembly language.
Well, I am written in C++, and I use special ways. I run in user space and send eBPF programs to the kernel using libraries like libbpf or BCC. It's like sending messages to the kernel to watch over things.
So you load eBPF programs into the kernel to monitor system activities.
Yes, these programs can be pre-compiled or compiled at runtime. Then, by connecting to points like kprobes or trace points, I watch system calls and the events I want.
And this way you collect information about system calls, network activities, file system changes, and even Kubernetes events.
Yes, and the good thing is that I do this with low overhead and high efficiency, like a ninja watching everything silently.
And then, how do you analyze this data?
The eBPF programs use things like ring buffer or perf events to move data to user space. In user space, I get this data using C++.
And you apply predefined or custom rules to them.
Yes, my rules are in YAML files, like a guidebook to find suspicious behaviors.
So you have a rule engine that you apply to the data you receive.
Yes, by analyzing the data and comparing it with normal behavior patterns, I can find behavioral anomalies. Also, I consider extra information like user ID, process name, file path, and other metadata to make better decisions.
That is very useful. But if users want to define their own specific rules, can they?
Of course. Users can define their own custom rules so I can act according to their environment's needs. These rules can include signature patterns or behavioral conditions that identify suspicious activities.
And you also have predefined signatures?
Yes, I have some predefined signatures that are used to find known threats. And these signatures are in my rules and are used by the rule engine user space.
So by combining data from eBPF and analyzing them in C++, you can find unusual patterns.
Exactly. Like a detective who notices the smallest clues to find possible dangers.
And you can get information from Kubernetes and other cloud-native services using APIs.
Yes, this information helps in context analysis and is processed in user space. This way, I can make better decisions.
I am really impressed. Falco, you can do many things.
Thank you, Terraform. But without your organized and versionable infrastructure, my work would be harder too.
Well, our teamwork makes systems safe and stable. By the way, have you had any special challenges?
Sometimes it is hard to see the difference between normal and suspicious behavior. For example, some processes look like threats, but they are normal, so the rules must be set carefully.
I understand. I also have sudden changes in the infrastructure sometimes, which can cause problems.
Maybe we can solve these challenges by working closer together. For example, I can get information about your infrastructure changes to make better decisions.
Good idea. This way we can have better coordination and prevent possible mistakes.
By the way, Terraform, I have heard a lot about you, but tell me, who are you exactly and how do you work?
Oh, Falco, I'm glad you asked. Are you ready for a trip to the world of infrastructure as code?
Yes, I love adventure. Tell me, when you are installed on an operating system, what do you do first?
Well, first I check environment variables like tf_log to know how much I should talk. Then I read my configuration file, .terraform_rc or terraform.rc.
Oh, so you look for the right settings from the start. What next?
Then, using the HCL library HashiCorp configuration language, I read configuration files with the .tf extension and turned them into an abstract syntax tree AIST.
That's interesting. It's like you're drawing the infrastructure map.
Exactly. At this stage, I evaluate variables and functions and replace their values. This way, everything gets ready.
So after this, you get to the providers.
Yes, I download the providers I need from registry.terraform.io or local sources. These providers run as separate processes, and I communicate with them via the gRPC protocol.
Oh, so you can talk to any provider like AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud?
Exactly. They are like my colleagues.
What do you do next?
I make a complex data structure called the Terraform graph using graph algorithms like depth-first search and breadth-first search. I analyze dependencies.
So it's like you have a roadmap that shows what needs to be done first and what comes after.
Exactly. To keep the state of resources, I use a data structure called state with Diff algorithms. I compare the current state with the desired state to find the needed changes.
How clever. But when you have several operations at the same time, how do you stop conflicts?
I use concurrency algorithms like optimistic locking and compare and swap. Also, I use locking mechanisms like distributed locks with Consul or DynamoDB.
So security and coordination are very important to you.
Yes, and if an error happens, I use rollback algorithms to undo changes. Also, I try again using exponential backoff.
You are really professional. Do you do anything to improve performance?
Yes, I use caching techniques like saving API results. Also, I reduce runtime with graph optimization algorithms like topological sorting.
What about data security? How do you protect it?
I use cryptographic techniques like a YES 256 for encryption. Also, I manage access control with authentication and authorization mechanisms like OAuth2 and JWT.
Very good. But for accessing operating system resources, what do you use?
I use system libraries like libc to access operating system resources. Also, I use process management mechanisms like fork and exec to control child processes.
And to ensure your performance is correct.
I use fuzz testing techniques to simulate different scenarios. Also, I use static code analysis algorithms like linting tools and AST parsers to find potential problems like race conditions and memory leaks.
I'm really impressed, Terraform. You have a full set of tools and techniques.
Thanks, Falco. I tried to do my best, but without your security and watching, the infrastructure is not complete.
I'm happy to hear that. Maybe we can work together to give a better experience to the development and operations teams.
Great idea. Our teamwork can change the world of DevOps.
To future teamwork. And some work.
To future teamwork.
Thank you for listening to Visionarix. You can find more technical and practical discussions on our website visionarix.tech.
Thank you for listening to Visionarix. You can find more technical and practical discussions on our website visionarix.tech.
Goodbye for now.
Goodbye.